Hi and welcome back to Suan Sook Homestay. Today I'd like to invite you to join us in our new adventure of growing adenium or desert rose plants. This is a new venture my wife is undertaking, something that we can do to earn a little bit of pocket money during our low season because our other businesses are all tourism related with the guest house and the other things that we do. So we've decided to start growing this beautiful plant called adenium. It's also known as the desert rose, and you can see by the flowers that they do really resemble a rose in many ways. So this video is going to be an adenium grafting tutorial to show you how we're going about changing these plants to get different look and different types of flowers on the plants, and to explain why we're doing it. So the desert rose is quite an exciting plant to graft. They're a succulent, so it means that they graft pretty easily and respond quite quickly. And unlike the cacti that we work with, they don't have spikes, so they're a lot more fun to work with too. So I'd like to share with you some tips for grafting desert rose plants. One of the things that I really am attracted to with this type of plant and the way to graft it is it's possible to be really creative with them because we can graft multiple different types and colors of flowers onto the same rootstock. You can be as creative as you like, combining different styles and different colors all onto the one plant. And this gives so much room for creativity. Another reason for grafting is that when you're growing from seed, you can grow adenium from seed, but you're never 100% sure what the flower is going to be like. But when we graft from one plant to another, we can be sure of the look of the flower, the color and the style of the flower is going to be the same as the original. And with grafting, you're going to get a bigger, complete plant faster than if you grow from seeds or from cuttings. And if you've got a sick or dying adenium plant, you can take graft cuttings off of that plant and fix them to new rootstock and save the type of flower as the original. You'll need to prepare a few things before you start. Obviously, you'll need some rootstock to graft onto and some scions to cut and apply to the graft. You'll also need some isopropyl alcohol to clean your blades. You'll need some blades, but a couple of different types of blades that we use, a little scalpel. I'd like to get another one of those that's longer, or a very sharp, whatever type of knife that you're comfortable to use, and some plastic to wrap them with. This is like cling wrap, but it's a little bit stronger, it's a little bit thicker than and firmer than your regular kitchen cling wrap, and some elastic bands to fasten them with, and some tissue as well can be quite helpful. So the rootstock, the best type of plants to use for rootstock are obviously healthy ones that are at least a year old, but not so old that they're woody. And then also the plants that you want to graft to them, they need to be also at least a year old and not hard and woody and healthy, and of a style and color of flower that you like, that you want to have more of. And before you start, you don't water your plants, either the rootstock or the one that you're taking the cutting from, for at least 3 days. You don't want too much moisture because this can really interrupt the bonding of the grafting joint. Because if there's too much water, there's too much moisture, you run the risk of rot, and you don't want rot setting in. So start by cleaning your knife blade with the isopropyl alcohol to ensure that it's sterile and good and clean. And then make some tidy cuts that are flat with no ridges or tearing or bruising. So it's really essential to have a good sharp knife, because having a good, tidy, clean cut will help the graft join and be stronger. So trim off any excess roots or branches. You don't want lots of leafy branches. Cut your scions so that about 3 to 5 centimeters, that's 1 or 2 inches, and try to make sure they've got at least 2 or 3 eyes on them. And make sure you remember which is the top and which is the bottom of the cutting that you take, because you don't want to try and join them upside down. It won't work. And then cut the trunk or the branch that you want to attach the sky onto. Once you've got your cuttings, check the rootstock to make sure there's no sap there. If there is, just slice a thin slice off the top again, or dab it with a little bit of paper towel. You'll need to work fairly quickly so the sap doesn't keep oozing out. And then place your cutting on the cut surface, making sure both the cuts are clean, and the cleaner the cuts, the better the join will be. And then stretch the plastic over the skyline onto the rootstock using a medium amount of pressure. You'll need to experiment a bit with this, because if you put too much pressure, it's not good, or too little pressure, it's not going to join properly. So you'll just need to spend some time practicing this and figuring out how much is enough pressure, and then secure the plastic with one of the elastic bands. And put the adenium in a dry place that's partly shaded. You don't want it in full sun, you don't want it in full shade, and you certainly don't want it to be anywhere it's going to receive any rain or water when you're watering other plants in your garden. You can be checking on your plants every few days, but resist the temptation to water them. Look for signs of rot around the joints. Sometimes it'll appear to be black or sometimes yellow and soft. After 5 to 10 days, you should see if it's starting to show any signs of life. And then at the end of the 10 days, you can take the plastic off and it should be joined, and you should start to have seen some new leaves appearing. And when these little leaves reach about 1 centimetre, that's about half an inch, you can move your desert rose to a location where it has full sun. So if you're new to grafting desert roses, you'll actually find that it's quite fun and it's quite enjoyable, because it is such a creative activity, but you need to be patient. You just need to do things carefully and patiently. Pay attention, especially when you're cutting and when you're joining the cuts. So when you're actually connecting the two pieces together, experiment with more or less pressure until you get a feel for it. But the more you try it, the more you practice it, I'm sure that you'll get better and better. It takes experience. It's not something you can just watch one video and think, okay, I'm going to do this. But be patient and keep trying and enjoy the process. And if at first you don't succeed, try again. And as you gain confidence, I'm sure your creativity will grow. As you see the grafts start to produce blooms, you'll start to have more ideas about what you can do and the different combinations that you can make. And please, if you do try this, if you are producing some really interesting plants, let us know in the comments below, or check our community section and share some photos. I hope you've enjoyed this video on how to graft adenium, and I hope that you're on the way to mastering adenium grafting. Thanks for watching.